Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Tradesman Experience. This is the podcast built by tradesmen for tradesmen. My name is Josh, and Mr. Nate Newton is on a weekend getaway with a bunch of other guys. I hope they're safe. I hope they're having fun. But that gives me the opportunity to jump on the mic and the camera by myself. There's something that has come up in conversation, and more than conversation, thought a lot lately. And there's two things I really don't like to do, and I really try to avoid. One is talking about myself, and two is talking at people. I was in a conversation recently with some fellow coaches, some friends of mine that are doing phenomenal work. And I had expressed my concern about how a lot of coaches and a lot of leaders talk at people. They bring the energy, they bring the aggression, they bring the emotion, but they talk at people. They don't connect with them. They just talk at them. And they talk at them about expectations. They talk at them about what they're supposed to do. And I really try to make sure that I not only communicate, articulate, but connect with people in a way, with people that I've never met, never seen, people like you that are listening to this podcast or watching it on YouTube. And I'm not going to say that I'm going to break those two rules, but I'm going to kind of skate around them in this episode because there's some things that I want to discuss that I need to kind of talk about myself a little bit, and I need to deliver it in a way that sounds like I'm talking at people. But I want you to remember, I'm really not talking at someone. I'm really trying to bring a message here. The first thing that I'm going to talk about, so I can get it out of the way, is myself. Is I have listened to conversations as we have built this podcast, and we're in the fourth season. I realized that I've kind of painted a picture of what operating as a leader and as a high performer. I feel like I've painted this picture where it's really graceful, that it's easy, that the tactics are simple, that you develop strategy and you constantly grow yourself, and you allow people, you empower people to fail. And I kind of want to clarify some of the difficulties and some of the realities of leadership. And I want to do that by expressing a little bit about me. And the simple fact is, I'm not that pleasant to work for. And as I kind of think back of painting this picture of leadership and how you're supposed to behave, I don't want to make it sound like it's not real or it's not true to my behavior. But if you're going to agree to perform, and if you're going to agree to fulfill your role, your responsibilities, if you're going to agree to meet expectations, I fucking expect you to do what you say you're going to do. I don't expect to have to hold your hand the entire time. I don't expect to have to constantly revisit conversations about your neglective behavior because I need to err on the side of grace as a leader. So what I really want to say is, it's difficult for me to err on the side of grace and on the side of patience. It's much easier for me to talk about it in a controlled setting with someone that is experiencing it because I'm emotionally removed from the situation, which is healthy for a coach. I can offer a detached perspective. I can offer information. We can build strategy. We can develop tactics, and I can do that from a non-emotional point of view. But as an operating leader, as myself, I have a very high expectation because this is what we agreed on. And my expectation is that you're going to show up every day and you're going to do the best that you can to fulfill that agreement. So the one thing that I wanted to clarify is I'm a fucking monster to work for because my expectations are really high. And I've made a lot of mistakes as a leader over the years because my leadership maturity was really low. My emotional discipline was really poor. And just my capacity as a person was low. But it really kind of, that really brings me into my next point in the main topic of what I want to talk about tonight. And that is do your fucking job. Now, again, I don't want to feel like I'm talking at people, but this is something that I've been experiencing. And I had a conversation yesterday. As of this recording, I had a conversation yesterday. We go through and build an entire strategy and tactical plan to elevate this individual in this company because the behavior that this person is choosing does not meet the standard, does not meet the performance requirements of the position that they agreed to take. So we spend quite some time, go through multiple different angles, we brainstorm. He meets with his employee this morning. I get a phone call at 5 after 7 this morning, and he said, I didn't even get to offer the plan that we had developed because when I asked him about why he can't fill out his time card properly, he looked at me and said, I don't think this is going to work out. And he quit his job. This guy quit his job because he decided over and over again to not fill out his time card. Do you know how fucking crazy that is? This is why managers exist. This is why people fucking complain that they can't find good help today. This is why people choose to not grow their companies and not grow their teams, and they end up in performance punishment with the people they have, because there are people that wake up every day and decide to muddle through the responsibilities that they agreed to and then fucking bail when someone calls them on their bullshit. This is the message that I want to get through today. You have a fucking job to do. When you agree that you're signing up for this role and you agree to meet these expectations and you have to put forth the effort, when you fucking quit because filling out a time card is too difficult, or showing up on time is too difficult, or looking the part, maintaining your appearance, being disciplined, when those things are too hard, you would just rather fucking quit. That's why people have such a bad taste in their mouth. That's why developing leaders is so difficult, because of the experience that they've had with people are examples like this. And by the way, this idiot that quit his job over a time card was simply, this was not the first conversation. This conversation had happened multiple times. See, if you don't understand why you need to fill out your business card, this is either your first day on your job, or you've just chose ignorance. Your company, your bosses, and your leaders, they have to know your time allocation, because that allows them to be profitable. It allows them to bill people, bill companies, bill contractors appropriately because of the work that you are doing and the work that you agreed that you were going to do. So it's a transfer of information. It's not about, here, fill this out so I can make sure you get paid. My experience is you're going to get paid whether you fill it out or not, whether you put the correct job name down or not, or the job number. Most contractors are still going to pay you, and they're going to take it on the chin because you're too fucking lazy to do simple tasks that allow the company that you work for, that allow the company that pays you to be successful. A lot of people can't even put their fucking tools away. They can't show up on time. They don't dress appropriately. Instead, they choose this baggy, frumpy, lazy fucking excuse. They show up at 6:59 when they have to clock in at 7, and they leave at 3:20 when they have to work till 3:30. And they find so many distractions, excuses, and justifications throughout the day to do as little as possible and want, in return, to get paid the most. This is why managers exist. This is why people hire and fire quickly. Because the expectation that they have is solely based on the experiences that they've had, and they're really not expecting that much out of you. Do yourself a favor and prove them wrong. Make a decision to become better. I had to fire a guy because he wouldn't stay off of his phone. Very similar to the time card example. Do you know how fucking psychotic it is that you lose your income, you lose the ability to support yourself, your lifestyle and your family because you can't stay off the phone? That is insane to me. But it is also a clear identifier of weakness, lacking discipline, no clear direction, no clear goals. You would rather choose over and over and over again to be distracted, to try to remove yourself from the things that you agreed to do. And at the end of the week, you still want to be rewarded and compensated the same. Fuck you. You have to make a decision to be better. I believe that at the end of the day, people have it or they don't. I believe that there are people that have no business being in the trades, being in a high-performing position, being in a leadership position. I believe that they are better served filling a role somewhere else for someone else that is more their speed and has their minimal capacity. I do believe at the end of the day, there are some people that just won't get it. My job as a leader is to discover that. My job as a leader is to cultivate that performance out of people. Which is why I think that you should hire slow, fire slow, but do both of them on purpose. I want to give them the opportunity to fuck up and make it right. I want to give them the opportunity to learn and grow. I want to give them the opportunity to recognize that they within themselves can do better. And when they choose negligence, when they choose weakness, when they choose lacking discipline, when they choose to not fulfill the role that they agreed to fill, then they need to go somewhere else. When they make that decision, that's their decision. You may quit, I may fire you, but it's your decision. But it's my job to discover whether or not you have what it takes. The small businesses need people. They need opportunity. They need to offer a solution, service, and product to become successful. What they don't need is some whiny ass lazy fuck tearing their business down because you can't do simple tasks that are asked of you so you can become successful. You look at any small business, the single greatest expense in a business is labor. And the single greatest expense of labor is unbilled hours. Unbilled time. When you go to work for somebody, and here's something I need to clarify. When I talk to people in real terms. I don't try to paint a picture of perfection, because nobody is going to show up every single day for 8 hours and produce 8 hours of work. Things happen. They need to change projects. A tool breaks. They're going to go to the bathroom for 15 minutes and watch TikTok videos. They're not going to produce 8 hours of perfect billable time, because you have to take in consideration the human factor. I believe that high performers can stay around that 80% line. And they're gonna ramp up to 100% when they need to. And they're gonna ramp up to 110% when they need to. 8-hour shift, they're gonna work 9, they're gonna work 10, they're gonna work 12. But the expectation is 80%. So 80% of an 8-hour day is 6.5 hours. You get 6.5 billable hours of performance out of an individual, they're pretty fucking excellent. And that's the reality. A lot of the people choose to do everything that they can, and most of them are probably running 40 to 60 on the high end, 40 to 60% of productivity in an 8-hour period. And it's because they choose to not get better. They choose to not look at systems that can help them improve. They choose to not develop their skill set that's going to make them better. They would just rather operate in this 40 to 50 to 60% range, get compensated for 100%, and be satisfied. If that's what you want to do, then you need to fucking own it. And you need to say, man, I'm really looking to work about 6 hours a day. And you find a job that will work you 6 hours a day. You find a job that will offer you part-time. But you have to be realistic. You don't get full-time benefits and full-time pay for part-time performance. That's fucking crazy. But if you are making excuses, and this is an excuse that really pisses me off, is people hide behind their families. Now, I will be the first to tell you, when shit goes down, you need to take care of your family. You need to have the autonomy to leave work and go solve problems and be there for your family. I don't think you need to be working 16 hours a day and neglecting your family. I think you need to be prioritizing your time and doing things on purpose, so the time that you do spend with your family is quality. But this bullshit excuses of these, I'm going to pick on the guys here for a minute. Fucking guys, just, you keep throwing your dick into your baby mama, dumping your fucking paycheck, and then you got an excuse 3 days a week of why you got to leave early. Like, that's a fucking behavior problem. That's you choosing that circle over and over and over again and complaining about it, but yet you want full pay, full benefits, full opportunity. Don't hide behind your family. Don't use them as an excuse for your poor fucking performance. The fact that people would do that to their family, that they would sacrifice their family because of their own lacking ability to perform, because of their own lacking discipline to do what they need to do to get better. Like that one is a problem. And these are the ones that when they get fired or quit a job, they go home and they don't tell their significant other the truth. They make up some story so they are the victim. So, because if you went home and told your significant other, hey, I got fired because I leave early too often, I show up late, I'm on my phone while I'm there, I don't meet the quality standard, and to be honest, I complain a lot. What the fuck would your significant other say? I mean, if they know you well, they're going to say, yep, that sounds like you. I'd fire you too. But they're going to come up with this bullshit false narrative, and then as they come up with it, they buy into it themselves. They start to believe it, and then they get that ridiculous emotional support from those around them. Like, well, fuck that company, screw that guy. All he wanted you to do was just work all the time anyway. He didn't want you to spend time with your family. And I think that's bullshit. I think that I truly believe a lot of small business owners are good people. I know there's pieces of shit out there. There's bag of dicks out there running companies that don't treat their people well. But I think a lot of small business owners are good people. And they get frustrated because of the lacking performance of those that agree to take on this role. And they just don't do it. They do it for a minute. They do it for a week or two. And then immediately they start looking for the path of least resistance. Immediately they start the justification narrative. Immediately they start fabricating excuses. Immediately they start hiding behind their family. I mean, I've worked with people who probably miss 2 or 3 days a month because of their health. And it's not because of their health. That's a fucking result. The problem was they live on potato chips, smoke cigarettes, drink a gallon of fucking soda every day, and then they want you to feel bad when they're sick. Like, I don't feel bad because you ingest garbage every fucking day and then you're sick and can't perform. It's incredible. And yeah, as I said in the beginning, like, I don't want to talk at people, but I really feel that I spend so much time talking about leadership that I neglect the reality of the opposing side. And that's really what I'm doing here. Is I'm acknowledging the problems. I'm acknowledging the truth. I'm acknowledging the reality that people choose to not perform. People choose to make excuses. And it makes leadership that much more difficult. I was very, very, very fortunate for the team that I had built because they were amazing. And I'll never be able to truly pay them the dues that they're owed through the time that I spent with them. But I had to go through some shitbags to find those awesome people. I had to go through some low performers to find high performers. You have to have difficult conversations. You have to fire people. But it was through those experiences that allowed me to create things like the 3-step interview process, that allowed me to create systems and roles, responsibilities, and expectations, growth plans, benchmarks, expectations, how to generate buy-in. And when you get to experience someone that says they're going to do one thing and then shows up and does another, and it's far below what they agreed to, it can take your soul. It can take your motivation on building a company. It can steal your desire to build a team. But if you let one or two or, a few truly ignorant fucks to dictate the growth and success of you and your company, you need to get really back in tune with why you're doing what you're doing and what it is that you're wanting to create. But and here's the crazy thing is I know I'm preaching to the choir in this conversation because no one that's a complete piece of shit listens to this podcast anyway. Now you may be listening to it and going, oh, I know somebody that needs to listen to this. I have a list of people I think that need to listen to it as well. But I ultimately want you to know, like, I understand, I acknowledge the reality of dealing with dirtbags. And as I grow as a leader and my capacity and maturity increase, I'm still going to continue to err on the side of leadership. For some people, that might be more grace. For some people, that might be more patience. For some people, that might be higher expectations. For some people, that might be micromanaging. Your leadership style is different than mine. But I'm going to err on the side of leadership. And I'm going to give them the opportunity to prove that they want to be here, or the opportunity to quit. And maybe quitting is me firing them. It's, it's really frustrating when you work with people and you see that they're excited, and then again you get a phone call and they're like, hey, I had another conversation with him about his time card and he decided he was going to quit. Like, that's very frustrating. I just think people need to fucking do better. I think they need to stop making excuses, stop hiding behind their family, and just do your fucking job. And do it to the best of your ability that day. I don't expect 100% every day. I just expect your best effort that day. That's reality. I don't expect people to love my company as much as I do. I don't expect people to dedicate themselves emotionally as much as I do. What I do expect people to do is maintain their integrity. We make an agreement. This is how I look at hiring. And this is why the process is so important. Roles, responsibilities, expectations, skill set, compensation package. It's outlined. It's clear. You want to play on this team, in this position, these are the expectations. I want to know what your expectations of me are. We're going to create a growth plan. We're going to agree to it. And if you don't do the things that you say you're going to do, you're a piece of shit. Just do what you said you were going to do. And if you work with a chicken shit leader who leverages that bullshit, who doesn't do what they say they're going to do, why would you stay? Why would you continue to work there? That's another justification, on the other side is, and so we're going to flip this over to chicken shit leadership a little bit, because I don't want to just beat up the people that work for companies, because, managers is equally toxic, and they're as equally fucking poisonous, and they equally make distractions and excuses, and they hide behind bullshit. And they expect the people that work under them, and that's how they look at it, to perform in a way that makes them look good. We have to meet the metric. We have to meet the quota. We have to produce so much. We have the revenue goals, whatever it is. And the chicken shit leadership, they don't want you to question them. I'm going to give you an example of this. Had a young man reach out to me, it's been a few weeks ago, and was asking me some questions, and without going too far into it, I just recommended that he offer up a conversation with his leader about developing a growth plan, because he was doing the role of a team lead or a foreman without the reward, without the compensation, without the recognition, because it was making the manager look really good. So when he had, sorry, I'm laughing because it's not a fucking punchline, but he has a conversation with his leader, and within a few days, his manager give him a written reprimand for insubordination. Which is fucking bananas to me. He wanted a clear path. He wanted a growth plan. He wanted to really understand what the roles, responsibilities, and expectations were. And he got reprimanded for it, and they wrote it up as insubordination because God forbid you fucking question me about the decisions that I'm making. What a piece of shit. That's also why companies can't keep good people. See, just like poor performers and these fucking lazy people that I'm talking about show up and they kind of create this stigma in the marketplace that you can't find anybody good. There's an equal stigma that you can't find anyone good to work for. There's an equal stigma that, well, yeah, I just want to be able to show up and do my job and be rewarded for it. And that's a pretty simple metric that a lot of people want. And yet there's a lot of companies, a lot of small businesses that don't offer that because they get wrapped up in their own feelings and they don't want to ever be seen as failing, or they don't want to be questioned because their idea is the fucking best idea. That is equally as toxic. And this young man obviously has a decision to make. I mean, he can continue to tolerate the pure fucking stupidity of the managers, or you go find something else. You seek out opportunity. You grow yourself in a way that opportunity seeks you. You come up with a plan and you do the work. I still think that you agreed, as long as you're there, do your fucking job. Don't let chicken shit leadership deter you from doing your job, regardless of how much you hate them. And I'm telling you that, guys, from experience, from experience as an employee of being very manipulative and complaining and negative and really just being a bastard because my leaders were so bad, so fucking bad. Just do what you agreed to do. You stay that course. You don't get wrapped up in this fight that is really not going to do anything. That's really not going to allow you to be successful. You know, I had a guy I worked with, and he said, you know what you get when you beat up an idiot, a sore idiot. And you have to just be purposeful and strategic if you work for chicken shit leadership about exiting that. And those are difficult conversations as well, because for the most part, as soon as you put in any type of notice, whether it's 2 weeks or 2 months, most likely they're going to cut you loose. And doing that without somewhere else to go is terrifying, right? There's no safety net. There's no security. You don't have another source of income. You don't have another place to go. But that's why leadership is so vital in all of this. It's the staple of building successful teams. And I think a successful team is the staple in building a successful company. But it still all comes down to leadership. So just as I was complaining about the quality at which people choose to operate, it happens in leadership all the time. It happens in a way where they steal, they lie, they manipulate, they do everything that they can to keep themselves first, to keep themselves paid. And you're not allowed to question it. You're not allowed to ask why. You're not allowed to have clarity in the role that you play, because any of that will uncover the bullshit. It'll uncover the lies, the deception, the embezzlement, the stealing. And I've witnessed all of those things before. And you just got to fucking do better. My final message here is, if you agree to something, fucking do it. Period. If you agree to a position, and that position requires 40 or 50 or 60 hours a week, if that's what you agree to, don't hide behind your family. Don't hide behind your fucking bullshit excuses. Don't hide behind lies. You just don't have what it takes. Stop dragging everybody else down. Same thing with leaders. If you agree to be a leader, that means you're agreeing to lift others up. You're agreeing to elevate those around you. You're agreeing to create opportunity of success. You're agreeing to put yourself in a situation to discover and cultivate excellence out of others. I don't give a shit about how well you can frame a wall, how well you can troubleshoot an HVAC system, how well you can weld. I don't care about that. That's not what makes great leaders. But if you're going to expect excellence from others, you have to expect excellence from yourself first. Doesn't matter the position that you're playing. If you expect excellence of others, excellence being reward, compensation, acknowledgement, opportunity, freedom, autonomy, doesn't matter. You expect excellence from others. You have to expect excellence from yourself first. Thank you so much for spending this time with me. You can find me on Instagram at The Tradesman Experience. Email is thetradesmanexperience@gmail.com. Website's thetradesmanexperience.com. And the YouTube channel is The Tradesman Experience. Get out there, get shit done. Be proud to be a tradesman. See ya.